Stairrods manufacture a wide selection of carpet profiles, utilising both brass and aluminium base plates. The products are designed to perform to the highest standards, producing a luxurious finish to any installation. The profiles are available in all 10 colours and come in lengths of 0.9, 1.8 and 2.7. In this video we're going to be focusing on how to transition from carpet to carpet and how to finish off utilising different profiles. Whether you're dura fitting, stretch fitting or fully adhering to the subfloor, Stairrods have a solution which not only works but also fills you with the confidence that the product will look the best and last for years to come. All our products either have or will be covered by their own installation video. For more information on this, just visit the Stairrods website or follow us on one of our social media platforms. The Double Z range is available in the 4mm, the 9mm and the 13mm. They all come with a 30mm topping on them and a base plate made of high grade aluminium. The 9mm and the 13mm both have the anchoring pins, but the 4mm doesn't. All of these products are available in all 10 colours, and again they come in lengths of 0.9, 1.8 and 2.7. The 4mm profile is designed for either your flat weaves or your thin sisal carpet. It doesn't have any anchoring pins down the sides, so this is designed to work with any carpet that is being dura fitted or single stuck. If you're working without an underlay system, you can either mechanically fix to a timber substrate or you can fully adhere the bar down to a solid substrate. Just make sure you're using the appropriate adhesive and primer, and always consult manufacturer. If you are working with the underlay system, then the best thing to do is to put some blind gripper down first. For demo purposes, I've just quickly knocked these down, but always installed to industry standards. What this is going to do is it's going to raise the bar up, give me a smooth transition when the carpet goes through. Once we've got those on, you can now see that the base has been raised up. Once we've got the bar installed, it's now a case of getting the underlay into play. Again, it's only demo purposes, so I'll be using a Durafit underlay on this, but it just shows you the nice smooth transition between the underlay and the bar. Now, as the underlay is quite a supple product, is what I generally tend to do when I'm installing these sort of floor coverings, is run either a length of blind gripper along in front of the bar or a bit of microplast gripper if you're doing a flat weave. Because what that does, that gives it a more stable fixing point. Because I'd run my adhesive either up to there or onto the bar itself. Having a row of gripper there just gives me a little bit more stability and it gives me a bigger area to stick onto. Now, the 4mm Double Z doesn't actually have the anchoring pins as I mentioned, but it does have ridges on either side. These bars are designed to be dressed down. Those ridges clamp onto the pile of the carpet and stop it from pulling out, but you always need to run a bead of adhesive along as well. So just with a latex adhesive, I can run that through the middle and take in a piece of carpet. This is a piece of flat weave. Just run that through. Once the adhesive's cured, that will be absolutely solid once you've dressed the bar down as well. Once you've got both sides in, I could just point out there that you can see the carpet going right up to the edge. We've got the blind gripper this side, we've got an adhesive running down this side. We could actually have an adhesive down this side as well, but it's just to show you, we've got a point where this can actually compress. If it compresses right on the edge of the bar, that could eventually start to pull that out of the bar, which is why it's always advisable to run a bit of blind gripper down the side. The 9mm product is designed for your average standard carpets up to about 12mm. Whenever you're working with a stretch fit system, you must always raise your door bar. That allows the anchoring pins to get the proper penetration into the back of the carpet. Now the Double Zs actually are supplied with an MDF spacer. Because what you do with the spacer is you cut it down just to the width of the bar itself and you place one under each nail hole. That base is now risen up roughly about 4mm. Once you put the underlay into place, it's actually raised that base up, not flush with it but closer to it. So as the carpet goes in, it can grab hold of those anchoring pins. If I was actually working in an area where it might require power stretching, never power stretch into or away from these bars. If you are going to power stretch, make sure you put blind gripper underneath your door bar to raise it up 6mm, and then run some gripper rod in front just to reinforce these pins. These bars are designed to be dressed down with the Z section through the centre. That is a collapsible section. You take a piece of wood and a bit of fabric attached to it and very gently tap it with a mallet to bring it down, clamping the carpet into position. The 13mm Z is actually designed for your higher density, thicker pile carpets. This works exactly the same as the 9mm double Z. Whenever you're working with a stretch fit system, you must be raising the base to make sure that your anchoring pins get optimal penetration into the backing of the carpet. If I was working with this with a thicker underlay, once the carpet goes in, it would miss the back set of pins and just grab hold of the front ones. By raising the base, allows these back pins to get a good hold as well. These bars are supplied with an MDF spacer. You cut these spacers down to the width of your base plate and you put one underneath each nail hole. If you're mechanically fixing, always use ring shank nails, but if you are sticking to a solid substrate, check with manufacturer and use the appropriate primer and adhesives. Once I've installed the bar itself, I can bring the underlay up to it. You can see there it's actually raised that base, not quite level with the underlay, but close enough to get a good penetration with the pins. As it's designed for the thicker products, I'll just take a piece of this jacaranda and feed that in. This product from Jacaranda, you wouldn't be able to get into the 9mm profile. So as I feed it into the 13mm, you can actually see it's nice and tight up against the underside of the top piece. These bars are designed to be dressed down with a Z section through the middle. That's compressible. Just use a piece of wood with a bit of fabric attached to it and very gently tap it with a mallet, bringing that bar down flat. That will clamp everything into position. If you are working in areas where you have to power stretch away or into a door bar, the anchoring pins are only aluminium and they do need reinforcing. So what you'd do is you'd actually have to run some blind gripper underneath your base plate to bring it up the same level as your gripper rod, and then run some gripper in front, giving you a stronger, wider anchoring point. The Slim D is an innovative design. It actually uses the gripper rods to secure the profile into position, and it also comes with a 16mm top, so it's a more discreet appearance to when you're joining two carpets together. It's designed for carpets up to about 12mm. No anchoring pins as it utilises the gripper, and this bar will actually withstand power stretching whether you're going into the bar or away from the bar, due to the gripper rods being stronger than punched aluminium anchoring pins. To install these profiles, you just need to set gripper into position first. And then the bar lips over the front edge. Once you've got it in position, then you can get the second row in. Make sure your gripper is nice and tight. That's what holds everything in position. You could actually give it a tap with a hammer, but for demonstration purposes I've just used the my street. You can see there that's now secured in position. Very difficult to actually move that bar. We've also got an upstand. Now if I'm working with a 6mm gripper, that's obviously closer to the floor, but that's there to support the Z section, but also if you wanted to run a bead of adhesive through the centre as well, it beds into the adhesive, giving it an extra fixing. Once the gripper's in position, you can get the underlay in. We've got no sharp edge where the carpet can have premature wear. Once the bar's been fitted and you've installed the carpet to industry standards, you can see there it's giving it a nice non-obtrusive visual to the carpet. These bars again are designed to be dressed down. Just take a block of wood with a piece of fabric attached to it and very gently tap it with a mallet, making sure that that clamps down. Once it's clamped, it's very difficult for the carpet to actually pull out. If I just demonstrate that by pushing it onto the gripper, just giving it some lateral pressure across, you can see there the carpet's really holding in position. Very clever design, this one. It's got an aluminium base material on it with a solid brass topping, and that topping is actually available in all 10 colours. Comes in lengths of 0.9, 1.8 and 2.7s. If you're finishing up to a floor covering which is lower, then Stairrods actually produce the singles range. They also do the square edge as well. The singles come in 4mm, 9mm and 13mm. Your 4mm is for your flat weaves, your thin sisals such as the mini boucle. Your 9mm is for your standard carpets up to about a 12mm in thickness, and then the 13mm is for your high density pile, thicker carpets, the Saxony such as jacarandas and the equivalents. The square edge is really there to meet up to anything that doesn't require expansion and has a nice neat edge along it. You've got a 12mm visible topping on this one. If you're going up against ceramic tiles or creating mat wells or anything like that, it's a very strong, sturdy bar. The single 4 actually gets installed by using the easy wedges which are available from Stairrods. These wedges are basically a chamfer. They're 3mm thick, chamfering down to a feather edge. The base plate on these bars is roughly around about 1mm. Once you place one of these wedges underneath the base plate, it will raise it up by 4mm. Your base plate's roughly around about 1mm and the wedges are around about 3mm. Whenever you're working with an underlay system, you need to be raising the base of your door bars. So with the 4mm, so it's designed for your flat weaves and your thinner sisals on Durafit systems. You get your underlay in position. Again, I'll be using a Durafit underlay if I was doing this on site, but just to show you for demonstration purposes, it's brought the base of the bar up almost level with the underlay itself. This underlay will compress down, give it a nice smooth transition through. If you were wanting to raise the base by about 6 to 7mm, if you wanted to run some blind gripper in front of the bar or some microplast or floorworks gripper, just place another wedge underneath, so you've got 2 wedges. That will bring your base plate up another 3mm. These bars are designed to be clamped down. You've got the ridges on the edge which are designed to clamp hold of the pile of the carpet or the fabric. You need to run some adhesive down as well, just as a secondary fixing. Once you've got your adhesive in there, install the carpet as per manufacturer's recommendations and industry standards. Again, just for demonstration purposes, I'll just show you how the bar looks once it's installed. Once you've got your carpet in there, as it is a solid brass bar, it has got a lot of durability behind it, but clamping it down ensures that you don't get any excessive movement through the bar itself. And again, it will clamp this carpet into position, stopping it from pulling out. The single 9, this gets installed with the easy wedge system. Easy wedges are available from Stairrods as well. As the base plate is roughly about 1mm thick, once you place one of these underneath, it will raise your base about 4mm. Whenever you're working with a stretch fit system, you must be raising the base of your door bars to get optimal penetration of your anchoring pins into the backing of the carpet itself. You can mechanically fix these with ring shank nails, or if you're fully adhering to a subfloor, just use the appropriate adhesive and primer, but always consult manufacturer. Once the bar's been installed, you can get the underlay into position. Always fit your underlaying carpets as per industry standards. And then once I feed the carpet in, and just to show the aesthetics of the bar, you can see there it's giving it a nice smooth transition through. You can dress these bars down to clamp the pile into position, but as it is a solid brass product, just be a little bit careful. It's very, very tough material. Use a piece of wood with a bit of fabric attached to it, and then a mallet, and just tap down until you're happy with the finish. You just see from the end profile as well, by raising the base, it's brought that further up. If I was to install this properly, you can see there, it compresses the underlay and actually grabs hold of that base plate, making sure that both rows of pins are penetrating the back of the carpet. The single 13 gets installed exactly the same as the single 9. Again, it's designed for your higher density, thicker Saxony carpets, but with all door bars, when working with a stretch fit system, you must be raising the base of your door bar. The singles range utilises the easy wedges from Stairrods. Now, these easy wedges are basically just a chamfered piece of plastic, goes from 3mm down to a feather edge, and your base plate's about 1mm thick, and it raises the base by about 4mm. Whenever you're stretch fitting a carpet, you must be raising your base to make sure that your anchoring pins penetrate into the backing of the carpet. If you don't raise your base and that base plate's flat to the floor, as the carpet comes over, it will miss the back row of pins. So make sure you always raise the base up. Once you've got the bar installed, you can either use mechanical fixings on a timber floor or you can fully adhere it to a solid substrate with the appropriate primer and adhesive. Always consult manufacturer's specifications. But once it's raised up, you can get your underlay in position. And as you can see there, the underlay is a little bit higher than the base plate, but once the carpet's installed, that will compress down and give it a nice smooth finish through. Once the area is prepped, again, get it all installed as per industry standards. And I'll just take a piece of this jacaranda carpet and I'll feed that into the bar. You can see there that if it was stretched properly, put under the correct tension, you actually get a nice flow onto the base plate, making sure again that the anchoring pins penetrate the backing of the carpet. These bars can be dressed down, but as they are solid brass, just be very careful. Use a piece of wood with a piece of fabric attached to it, and just use a mallet to tap it, making sure it goes down nice and flat. Working with due care and tension will make sure you produce a nice finish. The square edge is actually designed to be fitted up against anything that's got a nice smooth straight edge and doesn't require expansion. You can use these to create mat wells, go up against ceramic tiles, anything that's got a nice smooth edge. With all door bars, whenever you're working with a stretch fit system, you must be raising the base. To raise the base on the square edge, it utilises the easy wedges from Stairrods. These wedges are basically a chamfered bit of plastic, 3mm one side down to a feather edge the other. The base plate's about or just over 1 mil thick, so once I place one of these underneath, that will raise the base about 4mm, making sure that you get optimal penetration with your anchoring pins into the backing of the carpet. Once I put the underlay up against it, I've got quite a nice smooth transition through there. The underlay's slightly higher, but once the carpet gets installed and is put under the correct tension, that will flow through into the bar itself. Once that's in, you can see it's got a nice smooth transition onto the base plate. Again, making sure that you get good penetration with the pins. This bar is known as the square edge, but if you look at the profile of it, it's not actually square. This is designed for the top section to be dressed down. Just take a piece of wood with a bit of fabric attached to it and use a rubber mallet and just carefully tap down the edge, making sure it goes down flat. Stairrods also do the Premier cover, which have got the visible screw holes. They are supplied with colour matching screws. You've also got the Premier Posh as well, where you've got an inlay which covers over your screw holes. These bars can be retrofitted, which basically means that the bars are installed once the carpet's been fitted. The Premier cover has got the mechanical fixing screw points. Again, the screws are colour matched to the product themselves, and it's always nice if you just line the screws up just to give it a nice appearance. For both commercial and domestic applications, you can go for the wider products. It's the same principle. You've got the fixing holes throughout. The good thing about these bars is it does slightly cover over the gripper. These bars are brilliant if you've actually got a carpet down which is starting to fray on the edge due to it pulling out of a previous door bar or incorrect installation. Two choices: one is to actually replace the carpet itself, which can be quite a costly process, or to actually replace it with a wider cover strip. The Posh range is exactly the same as the Premier covers. The only difference is you've got the inlay which covers over your screw heads, so it gives it a more aesthetically pleasing finish to the floor. The wider one, same principle. The wider Posh is the same as the Premier cover. It just again has a more pleasing finish to it. In commercial applications such as hotels, these are ideal products as they're a wider brass, giving it more durability. Stairrods do have a line of gripper rods. They manufacture the G9. Now G9 is a 9mm thick gripper rod for use with thicker underlays, and it takes away like the chamfered edge down to the skirting boards. 28mm for an extra hold. Comes with 24mm ring shank nails, and it's a medium pin gripper, so you've got a 4.5mm anchoring pin set at a 60-degree angle to penetrate the backings of the carpet. 4 foot lengths and boxes of 50. They also produce a 6mm gripper rod. Now this gripper rod is pre-cut to 150mm lengths for your stick down applications. Being cut at 150mm just prevents it from lifting off the floor if there's any undulations. Always use the appropriate primer and adhesive. Always consult manufacturer. It's a medium pin gripper. Pins are set at 4.5mm. 60-degree angles, and it comes in 75 metre cartons.